Hi, my name is Barb Jacobson. I'm chair of Unconditional Basic Income Europe, which is a network of individuals and organizations in 25 countries in Europe, and is an affiliate of BN. And this is kind of the first meeting where we've had report backs from different people from the affiliates and what's going on there. I'd like people to try to limit your remarks to 3 to 5 minutes. I will cut you off. All right, at 5 minutes, because we do not have much time. We really don't want to cut too much into the time for the General Assembly, because there are a lot of important issues to be discussed there. So let's try to get started. I'll just sort of, as the representative of UBI Europe, I just wanted to also. The main thing that I wanted to say to the group was that we're organizing something called an International Week for Basic Income, which is going to be the 19th to the 25th of September this year. And that we really encourage all affiliates across the world. Last year we had a really good, because of the organizational of Manya Taylor and Christoph Lammer, we had, let's see, yeah, we had people celebrating on all the continents and in 20 different countries, and we'd like to expand that this year if possible. Even if you're on your own, you can do something, whether that's a sign or a picture or something that, to participate in the week. And you can contact, there's a contact form on basicincomeweek.org. So that's one word, basicincomeweek.org. To participate in that. The other thing I wanted to say about UBIE is that we're also working on several other projects, mainly to do with Eurodividend, trying to develop Philippe van Parijs's idea of Eurodividend and see what the different possibilities are, and also looking at how we could get the EU to pay for pilot studies in different parts of the EU. Those are our two main projects. There's other things happening as well, but we've managed to have, I think, 4 meetings in the last 2 years, and formalize our constitution and do various other kinds of business. The problem that remains for us, I think, is a lot about lack of money. That we would, we're not like hugely we've got a good male-female balance in terms of how we run ourselves, but what we don't, because of our reliance on English, and also because we haven't had money for a couple of years, we haven't had money to fund people and to subsidize people to get to our meetings. We haven't had as broad representation across Europe as we would like to see, but we're working on it. It's a project that carries on. So, right, who would like to go first? Anyone? Yeah, so we go. Could you just introduce yourself, say sort of what you're doing and what the problems are and how you're trying to deal with them?
Yes, sure. My name is Jung. I'm the International Secretary for BN Denmark. And I just want to mention at least one thing that we are going to do very soon in Denmark that is of interest to probably a lot of you if you're going to travel internationally. So at September 22, 23, we are going to arrange a conference in the Danish Parliament in collaboration with the new party called the Alternative. Here there will be discussed the topic of basic income, and there will also come up some of the same speakers that have been to this conference. So keep that in mind, look out for it. If you search on UBI Nordic, then you will find a homepage dedicated to this conference. In general, we have been gaining a lot of momentum in Denmark. There's a lot of discussion on the medias, and there's also starting to be some interest in the topic from some of the other Danish parties. So that's an actual interest in starting to focus on basic income in Denmark. Thank you.
Just introduce yourself.
Yes. My name is David, or David if you want, Casasas. I come from Spain. I'm part of Renda, Básica, which is the Spanish national affiliate. I won't be that shorter, but I will be less than 3 minutes, so don't panic, Barb. Because I know Barb really cuts you, and I have some experience on that, so... No, the activity Renda Básica has is very much linked, or has been very much linked to political parties. Since our foundation in 2001, many left-wing and center-left, but mainly left-wing parties have been interested in basic income. So the contact with social movements at the beginning was less important. Basic income has been discussed in parliaments, in the central parliament, but also in regional parliaments. And an example of this interest by parties of basic income is the fact that in 2014, in the European elections, 7 parties in Spain had basic income in their program for the elections. So this obviously requires from us plenty of involvement and discussions and meetings and so on and so forth. Of course, from the spring of 2011, things change. We have the Indignados movement, the 15M movement, and this means a rise of social movements that are interested in basic income, and in some way this helps unify perspectives on basic income that till the moment were here and there, but not in a unified way. So I would say that since 2011, basic income has been in Spain much more in social movements than in parties, but also in parties. There's been also a matter of media recognition. I mean, basic income appears in TV, in the press, in online press, and this requires our participation into all these spaces. And just to start finishing, and before commenting one last thing, of course we should mention as well the emergence and the presence of a party called Podemos. Most of you might know what it is. Podemos is the party that emerges from this say social movement. It's not the only party coming from that, but it's really important. And it gained popularity because of its endorsement of basic income. In 2014 that was clear, in 2015 it was less clear, in 2016 basic income was out of the program because apparently they had chances in the elections. They didn't do very well in the elections, maybe because they lost basic income. So we should think a little bit about that. But one important thing to be said is that Podemos, which is the party of the precariat, if you want to, but not only, also there are people from the classical left who is in Podemos. It's the common sense party. It's organized in assemblies, regional and local assemblies, that the decisions that are taken in then are gathered and they go up. And the proposal that got more votes, including all kind of proposals within Podemos, within this party, was basic income, which has created a huge problem to the direction of the party, who is tactically or strategically not for basic income, although they say that in the future they will be for basic income. What we do in our daily life? Talks, of course, if we have to be in touch with social movements and parties and trade unions, it means talks, meetings, assemblies. I'd say we were counting that with Julian, another Spanish friend here, that we do an average of 20 talks in Spain every month, more or less, something like this. We produce also a weekly newsletter. We have a mailing list of over 15,000 people. And I would say that, of course, we are far from implementing basic income in Spain, but I would say that after all these events that I've mentioned, basic income is really on the agenda. Thank you very much.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Pablo. I am from the Mexican section, Latin America. Our activity has been concentrated in these last 2 years in relation with congressmen and congresswomen. We have been accompanying the process of elaborating legislative proposals to recognize basic income as a new human right. There are a couple of proposals in the upper camera and also in the Chamber of Representatives in order to recognize basic income as a constitutional right. It's a discussion that it will be, we hope, in the next years. In the next years in the Constitution, and in the case of the Mexico City process, that is very interesting because Mexico City has been in a profound political reform. One of the main points is that for first time, Mexico is a federal country. Mexico City will have its own constitution, and now it's being written. And one of the points that will be in the constitution that was announced by the main coordinator of the process of writing the proposal of constitution will be basic income. So it's quite possible that there will be a very relevant debate in Mexico because of this discussion, as Cecilia, who will be one of the congresswomen who will work in the constitutional process, will be a very important debate in Mexico. You could say, well, that will be just in Mexico City. Well, Mexico City is just big enough. But in any case, the experience in Mexico is that what has been done in Mexico City has a huge repercussion in the whole country. So our work has been concentrated on these fields and will be intensified in the next months and years. Also, we have been all in touch with a group of people from El Salvador in Central America who are interested in creating a national section. I had a meeting with them in El Salvador, and I gave them some advice about the steps they must take in order to form a national section in Central America. That would be very good news also for this process. And also in a more personal, I would say, process, I have been raising, I think successfully, the point of basic income, the proposal of basic income within the organization I work for. Is our official body of the United Nations, the CLAC, the Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean, and in the recent strategic document that was approved, is the first time, as my knowledge goes, that an official body of the United Nations establishes the need for a basic income. You could find this document. So these are the main activities we have been working on, and I think that the main problem we have is that all the members are very short of time to devote it to all the activities we are demanding. But we are very grateful with the help we have had from other members of this of BIEN, and especially in the recent conference that we organized in Mexico with the Senate, where we have representatives from Finland, Switzerland, Spain, Brazil, and Mexico. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. We're going to go now to Roberto Merrill in Portugal via Skype. So hopefully he'll appear above us as the voice of somebody. Is he? Yeah? Hi, Roberto. Oh. There he is. Answer the phone. Hey, Roberto. Hi.
Hello.
Can you see us? You're looking at, hi, yeah, you're looking at some people adjusting the screen over there. My name is Barb Jacobson. I don't think we've actually met in real life.
Hello, anybody there?
Yeah? We can hear you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Hi, do you want to tell us what's going on in Portugal with basic income?
Yes,
In 3
of
minutes?
course. So, okay, the basic income movement has existed since the last 3 years, since the Citizens Conference. No, not conference.
Citizens
European
Initiative.
Initiative. And since then we've been growing, and there have been many articles published in the journals about basic income because of the international events, and also because of internal debates that we're trying with our group to promote. We've had about every 3 months, 4 months, we have a conference.
Sorry, can you stand up? You're sinking into the horizon here. We can hardly hear you.
Speak over the chair.
Yeah?
I didn't see you well.
That's okay, don't worry. Just keep talking, Roberto. Honestly, it's fine. It's really interesting. You're moving, whoops, okay. Okay, Roberto, do you want to carry on?
Sure.
Please?
I can't see you actually.
Yeah. Where's the... Okay. Hi, Roberto, it's here I am. Sorry, you're being flashed over to an audience. So
Okay.
that's why you can't see us, yeah, but I'll talk to you. Okay, so do you want to tell us more about what's happening there?
What else can I tell you? We're looking forward to organize a big PM conference next year. And we're getting ready for it. I think that the biggest challenge at the national level now for us is to have a good research group.
Mm-hmm.
It's political scientists, and so for now we're trying to have we're creating a little research group with 5 researchers, but mostly philosophers and 1 economist.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to make it bigger. I think that from there we can start proposing a sort of pilot project.
Mm-hmm.
And this would be the beginning perhaps of a more serious debate. That's our main challenge.
Okay.
And I think we can do it, but we still have a long way to go.
Okay, well, good luck. Yeah.
Good.
And thank you very much for participating. And come and see the audience as well. There you go, okay? And then also the other people on our panel. This way.
Okay, great.
This way as well. Yeah, so these are yeah. Okay. Hello. Yeah, okay.
Hello.
Ciao, ciao. Okay. Thank you so much, Roberto. All right. Okay, so next is... Yeah? We go back to Telemann from France. Yeah? No? Would you rather... Okay, yeah, we can go.
Good afternoon. I'm Jim Malvale. I'm on the board of Basic Income Canada Network, our national affiliate. I'll just quickly update you on things that have been happening. We were very excited about 2 months ago, in the middle of May. We co-hosted the North American Basic Income Congress in Winnipeg, Canada, with our colleagues from the United States Basic Income Guarantee Network, USBIG. It was a very exciting conference. We had about 150 people come, including a number of Americans and some international guests. We were sited in Winnipeg on Treaty 1 territory and in the homeland of the Métis Nation. So we thought it was a good chance in our theme for the Congress to really talk about basic income as a meeting place, certainly between Indigenous peoples and settler populations and newcomers to Canada, but also a meeting place for people advocating for social justice and ecological rights and women's rights and so on. At the Congress, the important themes included basic income as a way to address the racialization of poverty. We had an interesting example in Winnipeg of an interesting opportunity to talk about the MINCOME experiment that took place in our province of Manitoba in the late 1970s. And in fact, we had Ron Heichel, who was one of the speakers, who was the kind of the coordinator, the leader of the project. So that was very interesting. Also, some research work that's been done on the experiment from many years ago. So the Congress, I think, was quite a success. We're looking forward to having the next Congress in North American Basic Income Congress in New York in June of 2017. I'm just talking to Pablo. We should get the Mexican folks involved too, perhaps. Just talking about our network as such, we've got, I think, a strong national organization that we managed to build since 2008. We have regular board meetings. We have teleconferencing to include all members from all parts of the country in the board meetings. We elected a number of new board members at our AGM in May, which we held at the Congress. I haven't even met many of them yet. One of our key priorities over the last year has been building a good website as a communications tool, outreach tool, fundraising tool, and just to educate about basic income. It was interesting, we don't have a big budget, but we did put out a fundraising call for people to contribute to construction of the new BICN website, and had some success, raised $7,000 or $8,000 Canadian to achieve that. On the ground, we've had a number of strong local and provincial groups that have been emerging in different parts of the country. There's a very active group in Kingston, Ontario. We have a basic income network in the province of Manitoba. There's a very active group in Quebec, Revenue de Base to Quebec. So, in other parts of the country as well, so that's been encouraging. We've been struggling with, we're a fairly informal network, although we're a little bit more formally organized at the national level. And I think sometimes this happens with Yen too. You want the subgroups to do their own thing, but you also want to be part of a kind of you all want to be subscribing to key principles. And I think so far we've managed to navigate that pretty well and have many different voices, as Philippe calls it, an ecumenical broad church approach. And finally, just in the political context of Canada, I think as many people may know, we got rid of the bad old Prime Minister last October, and we brought in the new guy, Justin Trudeau, in the new Liberal federal government. And the dark ages are over, we hope, we'll see. We have to keep an eye on Trudeau too. But certainly the new government's been more open to talk about poverty reduction, to talk about improvements to income security programs. They've already brought in some improvements to the social insurance pension plan for seniors, and they've made improvements to the child tax benefit, which, at least in the negative income tax mode, are forms of the form of basic income. And even the Liberal Party has passed resolutions at conventions saying they're in support of a basic income. Now, party resolutions don't always get translated into legislation and new programs, so we'll see what happens, but at least there seems to be some openings. At the provincial level, I think as many people know, there's a pilot project that's being undertaken in the province of Ontario, our most populous province. Quebec has indicated they're interested in piloting basic income. There's some other provinces such as Alberta where there's surprisingly, after 40 years of conservative rule, a new social democratic government, NDP government in the province of Alberta. I've heard informally that they're interested in the idea. So we'll see where all that goes in Canada. So I think that's about it.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, then we have Michael Howard from the US.
Michael Howard, I'm the coordinator of the U.S. Basic Income Guarantee Network. Our main work over the last few years has been, together with others in North America, organizing an annual North American Basic Income Guarantee Congress, and next year we'll be having that in New York in the middle of June, so I invite everybody to come to that if you can. In the last, I don't know exactly when it formed, but within the last couple of years, we have a sister organization called Basic Income Action, which has become active in organizing local chapters. And if you go on the Facebook page for NABIG, you'll find chapters represented from Seattle, from Oregon, San Francisco, New York, Minnesota, and other places. And we're hopeful that these local chapters will begin to pursue activities on the local and the state level, which we have not been able to do in the past. One sign of increasing interest in basic income in the United States is the number of news reports. It wasn't very far back when our news flash was sent out 4 times a year. We increased it to bi-monthly, and we now are putting it out monthly because there's so much news we can't fit it all into something that's less frequent. Among the challenges we're facing, amazingly, we have put on these conferences in the US with 0 budget. We do not have a bank account, we have no way of raising money, but we have been able to piggyback on the Eastern Economic Association. But we do want to begin raising money, and we're working with Basic Income Action, which has some resources to do that. The other challenge is getting active volunteers, and we'll be working on trying to recruit some of those. We also want to expand our conference beyond the East Coast. It's generally been New York, Boston, Washington, the East Coast, and some conversations here make me hopeful that we'll be able to maybe have a West Coast conference maybe 3 years from this year. And I'll close with some positive political signs. We have to grasp at straws in the United States these days, but Bernie Sanders has put forward a bill in the Congress for a carbon fee that includes a dividend. That would be a very small basic income. There are some other bills, similar bills in the Congress. And he's had some success with people he appointed on the platform committee to get a carbon fee into the Democratic Party platform. That failed by 1 vote, but it was very close. So there's some political momentum within the Democratic Party. There was a photograph taken, someone showed this at a conference we had a year ago of Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton getting off an airplane. And Bill Clinton had in his hand the book, Liberty and Dividends for All, which is a proposal for a basic income funded by resource dividend. So take that for what it's worth. And lastly, Andy Stern, one of the major labor leaders in the United States, has just published a book in which he makes a very strong case for a basic income as something that will address the situation of American workers as we face technological unemployment and other issues.
Thank you very much.
From a very big country to a very small country. Brief report on Belgium. In Belgium, there were in fact 3 moments for basic income. First one was in 1984 when we published this special issue of a journal. At the time, we were preparing then the first conference of what became Bien. That was then taken up, well, essentially the reaction of the press at the time was a bit like what Katja said early. These people are not quite right, a bit insane. It was taken up by the 2 Green parties, Flemish and Francophone at the time, as their horizon, but they quickly forgot about making any short-term proposals that would go in that direction. It died out until the late 90s, when the idea was taken up by a member of Bien, life member of Bien now, the industrialist Roland Duchâtelet, who set up a political party called Vivant, whose sole aim, it was a single issue party, was what he called a freedom income, and that was a basic income. That was a proposal where he wanted to get rid of all the rest of the social bureaucracy in order to just have a basic income. It had some impact, but at the same time it aroused a lot of suspicion because this sounded really like a neoliberal idea. And then he was absorbed by the right-of-center Liberal Party, called Liberal Party in Belgium. He became a senator in the party of Prime Minister Verhofstadt and then dropped out of politics. He said, this is not the way in which I'm going to get basic income. And the third moment is really in the last few weeks in Belgium, where for the first time it has come really into the mainstream. One young deputy from the right-of-center Liberal Party is defending it in a very sort of eloquent way, but at the same time is being called back by the apparatus of his party by saying this is crazy, etc., etc. And then Philippe de Fête, who was involved in 1984, but since then has been the chair of a local welfare office in the capital of one of the Walloon region, so he has a lot of first-hand experience of this thing, has come out for the first time with a precise plan. That's related to what Katja said also earlier. The plan by the young liberal man is really in the Du Châtelet line, so sort of get it all out of the way, and then you have a basic income. Philippe de Fêt's proposal is one that says you'll have a floor of 600 euros per person, 300 euros per child, and then you keep social assistance that will be more effective than it is now, but as a top-up with level adjusted. And of course you have earnings-related social insurance for pensions, for unemployment benefit that come on top. Immediately it created more interest also on the part of the left parties, and the minister-president of the Walloon region, socialist, who was a professor at the University of Brussels before, said in an interview, basic income, a universal basic income, that is the sens de l'histoire, the direction of history. Immediately the rest of the party, including its president, trembled a bit by saying, no, we are attached to our social security system. But the debate, for the first time in the history of our little country, the debate has really become mainstream, and that is reflected back in other countries, partly because of what happened in Switzerland and is happening elsewhere. Also in the media, there was a big time one-hour program on Flemish television, which was spurious and badly documented in many ways. It showed, they sent people in Namibia and they said, look how it works in Namibia, how well it would work in Belgium. This is crazy, absolutely crazy and dishonest intellectually to make any analogy between what's happening there. But it was extremely effective, so that so many people heard about basic income and said, that's an interesting idea because it works in Namibia. It is crazy, but it worked. And just the day I left to come to Seoul, that I wouldn't have imagined that 30 years ago, my daily newspaper, the main francophone paper in Belgium called Le Soir, had a big double page entirely on universal basic income, with including then, of course, reporting on this controversy between the different versions of basic income. So, I mean, this is a wonderful moment to have this sort of conference in this context, because never before has there been anything approaching the sort of level of discussion. There is not a single day when you don't have an article or a debate or a lecture about basic income in our little country.
Fantastic. Thank you. Actually, I was expecting a representative from Citizens Income Trust in the UK here, but I don't see him, so I'll just do a brief report because I'm also a trustee of Citizens Income Trust in the UK. Certainly the debate in the UK has really just reached a completely different level, particularly with the publication from the Royal Society of the Arts into basic income and proposing their own model. Their model was largely based on the model that Malcolm Tory has been working on for basic income, which is kind of based on the unemployment rate, not the employment rate, what you get if you're unemployed, plus disability and also housing. In the UK we also get a housing benefit for rent. So that's the RSA report. Really has sparked off a lot of interest, particularly politically. It was quite interesting. There's another think tank called Compass that had a meeting last month in Parliament about another 4 proposals for basic income. And this was the first time that we've had so many MPs at a meeting about basic incomes, and from basically the range, except for the Tories, were there, which was really good. There's also an early day motion, which is like a discussion motion for Parliament, which the Green Party MP Caroline Lucas has put out, and that the first version of that had 35 MPs support. The second version, which is out now because these things fall at the end of each parliament, she's put it out again. And within like 3 weeks, it had 32 MPs. So hopefully this time, you know, in the course of the parliament, it will have more support. The other thing to report about CIT is that it's refreshed its board of trustees so that the profile is a bit younger, and they've redone their website, which is fantastic. And that's all I want to say right now about that. Okay.
My name is Alexander Toru. I'm chairman of the Dutch branch, another little country in Europe, the Netherlands. We exist for 25 years, so we are an old organization. And we organized a big international conference in Maastricht. A few of you were there. We have 600 members and we have 30 local branches. Because we existed 25 years, we asked our national pollster make a survey of how the political parties, the voters, think about basic income. And it was a very interesting result because 40% of the population said yes, 45% said no, and 15% said we don't know. And that's also our experience when we go to the street and hand out leaflets. Half of the population takes it on and they agree, and the other half in the pure neglection, but that's okay. So that's very positive. And the interesting thing is that the left parties, the Social Democratic Party, the left party like the Linke in Germany, and the Greens, there the voters, a majority said basic income is a good idea. The left-wing liberals, it was half-half. The two right-wing parties, there the majority said, no, we don't like a basic income. And then the most interesting part, we have the Freedom Party for Mr. Wilders, one guy like Mr. Trump. His voters, 40% of his voters are in favor of basic income, and 45% are against. So I think this is a possibility to say we should go forward for the basic income and then get some of those voters back. We will have national elections next year, March, we're preparing them, and we will have a campaign now with our members in the different political parties to put in the program not introduction of a basic income, but doing a big experiment, not only with social claimants, with people on the benefit, but with an average of the population. In my party, the Green Party, we will likely get a majority for that, in the Socialist Party, in the Liberal Party as well. And since we will need 4 parties to form a new government, it could very well be that 2 of the 4 will say we need a big experiment. Just yesterday was the last day of the National Parliament, and they decided that we will have at least 4 local experiments with basic income. But that's only with people who get unemployment money or something similar. That's not an average of the population. Interesting is that we have 3 trade unions. One of the trade union leaders came out in favor of a basic income, and he wrote a book about it, and he's working together with us. A former leader of the Christian trade union came out in favor of basic income. We have a petition going on saying the parliament should discuss it. We have now 50,000 people signing, also 50,000 emails of people who are supporting it. So that's broadening our base. That will be put forward in the fall. Then we have around 100,000 signatures. There's one small party in the parliament which has proposed a basic income, and that will be discussed on the 19th of September, when is the opening of the International Week of Basic Income. So we are confident that we're going to have steps forwards. Another thing we're planning to have a prize for universities to make a realistic proposal of introduction of basic income. And it's like in Belgium, every day there is somewhere in Holland in the newspapers or somewhere is a national or a local discussion about basic income. It's really on the mind of a lot of people, and we're very optimistic.
Thank you.
Eduardo Matara Suplicy. Well, I want to first say how much encouraged I am here again with this young Congress, because I become more and more stimulated to continue our struggle. In 1991, I first presented to the Senate a project to introduce a guaranteed minimum income through a negative income tax. This was approved by all parties in the Senate, December 91. more and more I became aware of the basic income unconditional arguments, and by 2001 I presented a new project of law to institute a citizens' basic income. This I will tell you more because I will have a lecture after this session. And this new project was approved by all parties December 2002 in the Senate, December 2003 in the Chamber of Deputies, sanctioned by President Lula under the presence of Philippe von Parijs in a very beautiful ceremony. But the law says that it will be introduced gradually under the executive criteria, taking into account first those most in need. So I will tell you more about this story
later on.
But I just want to say one thing. In 2010, I was together with Philippe here in Seoul for the international meeting of the basic income of South Korea. On that day, I had made a proposal to pacify and unify Korea, South and North Korea. Two initiatives. First, a game between the Brazilian soccer team and the mixed team of South and North Korea in each capital, Seoul and Pyongyang. And the second, for you all, and I want to encourage you from South Korea, please persuade the North Koreans to have a basic income in all Korea, South and North Korea. That's my suggestion.
Okay, thank you very much. Please introduce yourself.
Otto Lehto from Finland, representing Finland. I was chairman for the past year. I'm moving to UK, so this is my last time representing Finland, but hopefully not the last time representing basic income. What's happening in Finland is very interesting. As you know, the experiment is probably happening pretty soon. You know, there's some delays and the government is bumbling a bit, and there's confusion in a coalition government with so many parties. But you know, it'd be a long story to tell the whole history of it, but I mean, we've had discussion in the country since the 80s, parties from the left, the center, especially the Green Party and the Left Party, which together have held about 15% of the vote for a long time. But just today in the polls, they have reached a new height, especially the Green Party is polling at 14-15% now. So together they make about 25% of the vote already, and they are very supportive of basic income. But now it's not only them, it's the Center Party, which had formed the current government. They have been quietly supporting some form of basic income, but never done anything about it. So now finally the pilot experiments are happening, and because of the long discussion, the long debate, our organization has only been a latecomer to this event. We are just a collection and a legacy of these waves and waves of public talks and discussions and books and political parties and public discussion. And now it is at a point where majority of the population, a lot of people in the press, the academia, everywhere, it's like in these low countries, a very similar situation, I believe. And so, but we are in an interesting situation now because the discussion is so widespread and nobody owns the discussion. It's become such a common part of the parlance that, you know, we as a BN Finland are mostly just onlookers, and we are just, hey, we are here too, you know, we are sort of representing this idea, but at the same time it's good that we are not representing it because it's everybody's idea, and that's the whole point. It's everybody's basic income. It's your and mine and your neighbors, and it doesn't matter what political party you represent. So of course there's still resistance. But the biggest resistance, just to close my statement, is that I think the institutional resistance in the Nordic welfare countries is very strong, especially the combination of the old bureaucracies and old labor unions. They have been very lethargic. So I think that's going to be the biggest challenge. So it doesn't matter that the majority of people support it. if the system is very, very slow to change. But hopefully they will, because the populist report definitely is there.
안녕하세요. 반갑습니다. My name is Tamara. I'm from Basic Income New Zealand. We're just a new organisation. We just became a non-profit organisation last year. We have a Facebook page, a nice new website. So we're in the mobilising the people phase, and I wish I could say that BI is mainstream in New Zealand, but it's not yet. But it is growing. So the people who have really been the impetus for BINS, Basic Income New Zealand, are the veterans of basic income, and we owe them a lot. What we really want to do is attract more younger people. The veterans have held the torch for a long time and gotten us to this point. So we're hoping through our Facebook page and newsletter, the usual community groups all around New Zealand, we're networking with them. So it's a very grassroots movement at the moment. I would say that the community network in New Zealand is also quite strong. There is a feeling that we need a left-wing think tank, but that's not a specifically basic income movement. So at the moment we have many different community groups. So Basic Income New Zealand is just liaising and communicating with these groups and doing the usual speaking in community centres, speaking in schools, that kind of thing. They have a slogan on the website, let me check. Unconditional basic income is not left or right, it's forward. So Basic Income New Zealand wants to be non-partisan. That is also a little bit of a problem for those of us who want to be a little more critical of our very, very neoliberal media and very neoliberal culture in New Zealand for the last 40 years. So I was talking to Anya last night. She suggested that we have a monitor for political parties and politicians and give them points. At the moment, there is no political party that has come out in direct support of UBI as a policy, although the Labour Party at a conference earlier this year about the future of work floated that they would be interested in a pilot program, which was great news. So we had a flutter of media attention. The downside of that is that the media machine got into motion, and the right-wing business fraternity, who pretty much own the media, pretty quickly got the head of the Labour Party to backtrack that no, this wasn't a policy, it was just an idea. So our challenges are to mobilise from grassroots up. Political parties probably just monitor. We don't, now I'm speaking my own opinion. I've been told that I'm too political, so I have to not say too much about that. So BINS New Zealand is non-partisan. They don't want to comment about any kind of political party or say anything against a political party, which is a little bit of a problem within a young organisation. But the feeling is strong. Young people in New Zealand are very much part of the precariat. I see a good future in popularising the idea of basic income. So that's really where we are, is overcoming the negative perceptions of not working, you know, the virtues of work and the evils of unemployment. But we're feeling strong.
Okay, thank you very much. Toru?
Yes, my name is Toru. Our network is called Beyond Japan, and I didn't want to represent. There are some other people who can represent, but they're very shy, so somehow on behalf of them I'm talking. Start with Japanese activism for basic income when it started. It started in around 2005 in Tokyo, in a very poor neighborhood. Some homeless people and former construction workers started to have a discussion group for UBI. This kind of unlikely beginning of discussion of UBI, there are behind the scenes, there are engaging activists who sit over there, Kaori. She was behind for the beginning of those kind of activism. And a few years after, I also initiated with some other friend. I'm from Kyoto, from Tokyo. In Kyoto, some disability activists, disability people themselves, and some precarious workers, union activists. We formed Clement Union for Basic Income. And around that time, there are several other those kind of activism-oriented initiatives, some different places in Japan. And also, me and Shinji sit over there, also started kind of regular academic workshop who concentrate on basic income. And those people start together around 2007 to make a proper network for basic income. And in 2008, it was approved past GA, and in 2010 we have a launch event in Kyoto where I invited by standing, it's a very fond memory, from Bian and also Che Ganyim from Korean Network, and it's a good success. Probably guys character attract many people, and more than 1,000 people turn up to my university, and I only prepare the room for 400. So many people cannot enter the room, and we decided to have like this video live streaming to the other room. So it was quite successful. That variety of people joined, and it was our strength. But at the same time, I don't know, compared to Korea, there's a huge, sharp difference. We have left-wing people, but also many right-wing neoliberal people who are somehow attracted by basic income. So there are kind of heated discussion start. And the next year, 2011, we have a severe earthquake, tsunami, and also nuclear power station disaster. And we start to have some campaign to give basic income to victims of them. And then there are some conflict, and we had a bit of painful process to how to reorganize, and we just kind of restarted new activity, and one is some of us making a basic income game. We had a tour with that game to Basel to meet Swiss initiative people, and also went to Germany, and also went to Taiwan, and those kind of things. And also next week we invite Sarath to Japan. And okay. Politically,
yeah, just kind of, yeah. Thank you.
That's it.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Seoul. I am Seonmi. My pronunciation of my name is Sun in the Sky and me, Seonmi. I'm the Deputy Secretary General of Basic Income Korean Network, and I'm a poor English speaker, so I would like you to excuse my poor speech. Basic Income Korean Network established in 2009, and we have 270 members who pays their membership fees monthly, and we have many activities. But in April this year, there was the general election in South Korea. And we promoted the basic income idea to the voters, and the candidates of Labour Party and Green Party Korea promised the implementation of basic income and declared supporting basic income. But in result, we gained a few voters for basic income, but I believe that it's a real starting point of Korean basic income movement. And I have good news. Thanks to this referendum, like many other countries, we have more people that that are interested in basic income and support the basic income idea. That's
Okay,
all.
thank you. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, my name is Sarath Davala. I am the coordinator of the India Network for Basic Income. So considering the size of India, maybe I need a little more time.
No.
But I'm encouraged by the fact that China is next to me. I think our story is, I'll try to be short. Our story begins, a basic income story in India begins with the itinerant preacher of basic income, guy standing and collaborating with the women's trade union, SEWA, Self-Employed Women's Association. Way back in 2010, we decided, I was also working with SEWA, decided that we should have a pilot. So, right from the beginning, we thought we should involve the government. So the Planning Commission was the real think tank, official think tank of the government. So we involved many members of the Planning Commission, including the Vice Chair of the Planning Commission. So we started there, and I think the project went very well, and we were building consensus, constantly reporting back to them and talking to other people in the government, and also the provincial government where the experiment was happening. Now, there were two major setbacks we had. By 2014 was the time when the report was out, and UNICEF was supporting our pilot. 2014, when the report was about to be released, and the book was about to be released, that is when there was this big election, national election, and all our efforts really went back to zero because Congress lost in a very bad way, and BJP came to power with landslide victory. Now, all the faces were new, the old institutions were completely pulled down, and then they created new institutions. So in fact, the Planning Commission itself was completely demolished. We were completely, shattered. And I think, and that new government became very hostile to trade unions, to NGOs, and particularly to the women's trade union. So all our resources, so UNICEF also turned its back to us. On all other people who were supposed to provide resources for a national conference, international conference, where the study was supposed to be disseminated, they all kind of backed out. So we really came back to zero, in fact below sub-zero level. We were so disappointed and disillusioned because we were all geared up to come out bring out the study. Now, we simply waited. Then I think last year I came here, South Korea, the conference took place, and so fired up by the conference and the whole atmosphere. So on my way back, I developed the website, and by the time I was back home, I even rolled it out. And then subsequently, December 2015, we decided to start the network. We were not very sure. But then, by then, the new government settled and the hostility also kind of became a little less. And now the network has about 50 people, but the core members are very few. And then I think we also started a Facebook page now. We have a website, Facebook page, and in fact the Facebook page started reaching out to many more people. I think about 400-500 people view it regularly. Now, coming to the arguments, but I think so far, I mean, till about 2 months ago or 3 months ago, basically it was Guy, Renana, who is the chair of the union, and myself. We were 2-3 people who were writing in the newspapers about basic income, but this is something people, I mean, nobody cared even to respond to it. Yeah. So, but mostly our arguments were more pragmatic, that the current system is inefficient. So, but I think we are trying to build a think tank now. We would like to go into more sophisticated kind of arguments. So that is where we are. And I think this conference also is a watershed. I think more energy is now back into our network. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Say hello, my name is Gabriele Schmidt. The debate about
which organization are you representing? Sorry.
I'm only a member of the Basic Income Network Germany, because there is no one here to tell about a little bit more about the network Basic Income. And the debate in Germany raised in the early 80s, in the last century, at the background of rising up and unemployment and so on. And there was the trade unions, the unemployment of the trade unions. They forced for an existence money, in Deutsch Existenzgeld, and they should an alternative for unemployment money, and that was people were ashamed to get an unemployment money, and they looked for an alternative to strike out the dignity of the persons who were getting in unemployment. And the very forced debate began since 2000, maybe, after the worldwide crisis and so on. And it's not only the point that it's unemployment is the main argument for basic income. It's in Germany. There's also a tradition to think about the human and ethical aspects of basic income, and now we have a lot of Catholic church initiatives in Germany who are aimed at basic income. So the German network Basic Income was founded in 2004, and now it has about 4,000 members, individuals, and about 126 organizations as members. And it's very widespread debates from politicals, like members from the Green Party to the neoliberal and neo-conservatives parties, and you learned Katja Kipping as a presenter of the party, the left. There's also a working group, and I also represent as a spokesperson of the working group within the party, the left, Die Linke. this group. Yes, a lot of was that amateur. Yes, that's.
Okay, thank you very much.
Situation.
Yeah, cheers.
My name is Cui Zhiyuan from China. I think that the sequence of presentation is very correct and revealing, because as an autonomous social movement, basic income in China is the least developed due to some kind of legal constraints of registration for civil society organizations, non-profit organizations. So it's very difficult to have a formal legal registration. However, in reality of China, actually something equivalent to basic income actually has already happened in a not too small scale. Let me give you just one example. I live in an apartment building in Beijing. The janitor of my apartment building, I have some discussion with him. I found out, in addition to the salary he got from the property management company of my apartment building, he also got a guaranteed income from the local government of, another province where he is original. Why? I asked why. Because he's from Jiangsu province, and the collective, the whole village land is owned by collective. Right? The land has been taken by the local government for industrial development, but they designed a scheme that for this village, the person who are above 40 years old, they will get a monthly payment until they die. But if they are less than 40 years, the government think they can find the job on their own. But for people who are above 40 years old, like the janitor in my apartment building, he gets two income. One is unconditional, based on the former collective ownership of land, but another is a salary from the property management company. But in whole country, we don't know exact figure, but I think several million migrant workers in China may have this kind of arrangement, several million of them. But this depends on the local government, because you may read in news, in recent big protest in so-called Wukan in Guangdong. So the peasants protest local government, which didn't give them any guarantee and kind of help the big capitalist company to take over the land without this kind of. So it depends on the different local government. And so in this, finally, I would say the last when the International Basic Income Week last year with my former student Cheng Furi, we organized this Chinese Basic Income Network. We basically have a Chinese version of WhatsApp. So, but the Chinese version called Weixin, and we have 40 members, and our main activity so far is educational and research. We translated work by Philippe Van Parijs, Real Freedom for All, and Carl's work, the Basic Income as a Right to Say No, and Sarath also invited him to give a talk in Beijing in his way back to India from Korea last year. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, one more.
Hello. Bonjour. I'll try to go quickly. So I'm here to present the French Basic Income network affiliate. So the French network is on fire. It's actually quite hard for me to keep up with everything that's happening. We have over 1,000 paying members and 60 local groups, and it's because it started from the European Citizen Initiative, the European-wide petition. It's got a very grassroots feel to it, and it's got this sociocratic functioning, which makes it very democratic and very hard for anyone to get the whole view of what's happening. But so I'll try maybe and go through the events of just this year. In July, like our other European organization, there was a huge meta boom soon after the announcement in Finland of the pilot project that was going to happen. Then we had, for the first time in 30 years, basic income was mentioned in our National Assembly as the French MP French people in North America and made a proposal, except the proposal was to suppress the French security system and replace it by basic income, but it was still the first time we spoke about it in the National Assembly for a long time, and that sprang a lot of attention. And then in January, there was a report on the digital economy, which proposed a basic income. It's in a list of 10 proposals. One of them was basic income, and the French network was very heavily involved in the crafting of that report and in that specific proposal, which then later led to a law proposal later in January, where the same Republican MEP proposed an amendment again for basic income, but then this time he was together with a socialist MP, so which made it less dodgy for the left to get involved. Then in March we invited Olli Kangas from Finland, who is giving the report on the implementation of the pilot project, to give a conference at the Finnish embassy. And then created an experimentation working group with local elected representatives that were interested in trying to put in place basic income-like projects in France, and an organization called Jamal Poverty Action Lab, which is actually a French-based organization expert on poverty-fighting problems or solutions, which is actually the organization evaluating the Give Directly program that will be happening somewhere in Africa. So,
okay.
Wrapping it up. Well, very quickly, for the future, now we have also in the Senate, the commission has been created that has additionally many people, including Parijs and our network. And it is to give its conclusion in September, when a former Green MP will put forward a law for an experimentation, which should happen in next summer, which is coming pretty fast. And in 10 days, we're having our third summer universities, and we want to organize the two big events we're looking forward next year. We want to organize a conference with a national radio before the end of the year, in order to make pressure on the presidential election. And we would really like, around next summer, so maybe before, probably a bit after, to organize a big francophone conference on the model of a Bien Congress that would be at the same time a General Assembly and an academic conference for the whole francophone area.
Great, thank you. Talbaka. We have one more now from Taiwan. Please do.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, just keep it very short, okay? Because we've really run out of time.
Taiwan, officially, we haven't officially established yet. So far, what we've done is we created a website, a web page from Facebook, but very short period of time. It started in February this year, and 4 months now we have 1,850 members join. So you can see how desperate we are, and then you can see how promising the universal basic income will kindly implement. You can see is happening soon, because we try to do presentation towards our new president, Tsai Ing-wen, Taiwan president. So because we are on the right now we are on the amendment, trying to fix our national pension for senior. So it's best timing. We try to suggest advisor and community for this national pension for senior. So hopefully it will be loud and screaming. Our Taiwan people will start discuss our universal basic income. It's not something we consider crazy idea, actually, because you can see we already start a little bit and baby step, and then we got a lot of response, because we have a lot of young people, young generation. We start having kind of awakening. about what's going on in society, about monetary system. Because we have the Zaiga movement, we have a quite large member. So we consider universal basic income is the pathway of transition to better economic system we call resource-based economy. So I guess it's probably the future in Taiwan, but it's our first time to attend. But we're not a member yet. We try to request becoming a member of BN. So I wish this can happen. Okay.
Thank you. Right. Okay, listen, I'm really. Thank you so much, everybody. I think that was a really good sort of snapshot of what's going on around the world, and it's really fantastic to hear. I'm afraid we're not going to have any time for discussion for this because we have to move on to the General Assembly and other business of BN. So again, thank you very much. I think we're going to a closing. What, Guy? A closing session. What? Okay, go on. Briefly.
Thank you. I would just like to mention for those who are new to our Congress that there are also 8 other networks, national networks, that aren't represented here, but they've been having a lot of activities. I just want to read them out, the national networks. Sweden has had a lot of activities in the last 2 years. Norway has had a lot of activities. Austria, Italy has a lot of activities, and they're not here today. Scotland one, we've had a lot of conferences.
That's just new,
yeah. Poland, which has been very active. Switzerland, which we know about, which we haven't mentioned. And finally Hungary, which has had 2 big conferences in Budapest. So that adds to the picture. And in Argentina as well. Namibia. There you are. So we have other networks that haven't been.
Oh, for sure, yeah. No, I mean, yeah, this is really just a snapshot of people who were able to get to the conference. So thank you very much, Guy. Okay,